Hi, friend. Welcome to Holly's Highlights, a podcast designed to encourage, inspire, and equip you to intentionally live your life full of purpose. I'm your host, Holly Kirby, motivational speaker, leadership cultivator, marketing strategist, and personal cheerleader. Let's check out today's highlight. Hey, friends, and welcome back. Before we dive in, I want to start with a little question. One that might feel personal, but just stay with me for a moment. What if the hardest thing that you've walked through is actually shaping the strongest, most grounded version of you? Not someday, not after everything is fixed, but right now in the middle of it. That's what today is about. Because today we're celebrating 3 years of Facelift, embracing hope through your heartaches. 3 years. Honestly, that feels surreal to say out loud. But this isn't a highlight reel. It's about what's been learned in the middle of the mess, the growth, and even the unexpected. It's about you too, because chances are you're walking through something right now that's asking you to grow. When I first released Facelift, I didn't have everything figured out. I wasn't on the other side of every struggle that I wrote about. I was still processing, I was still healing, and still figuring things out in real time. And if you've read the book or even just felt drawn to it, you probably understand that it was never about having perfect answers. It was about choosing hope, even when life doesn't make sense. So today, I want to give you 3 things you can take with you, whether you've read the book or not. 3 truths that I've learned over the last 3 years that you can apply in your life starting today, because you don't have to have everything figured out to move forward. That first truth, healing isn't a straight line, and that's not a failure. We live in a world that loves progress charts, up and to the right, always improving, always moving forward. We tend to think healing should look like constant progress, but real healing, it circles, it pauses, it revisits old wounds you thought were already, quote, done. And that can feel discouraging, like you're back at square one, but my friend, you are not. You're going deeper. There's a verse that has grounded me. It's Philippians 1:6. It says, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Going back doesn't mean you're broken. It often means you're ready to process something at a new level. So if you've been frustrated with yourself lately, if you've thought, why am I still dealing with this? Let me gently offer this shift. What if this isn't regression? What if it's refinement? What if you're not starting over, you're strengthening something that matters? The next time something resurfaces, and instead of resisting it or even asking, why am I still in this rut? I would encourage you to ask, what is this trying to teach me now that I wasn't ready to see before? That one question can change everything. The second truth is you don't have to wait until you feel ready to take a step forward or even the next step. Now, this one has been huge for me. We often think I'll do the thing when I feel ready, or I'll take the leap when I'm more confident. I'll move forward when I'm not afraid anymore. But the truth is that courage rarely shows up before the step. It often shows up because of the step. And I'll be honest with you, my friend, right now in this season, I'm living this. Facelift is currently in the middle of switching publishers, which is both exciting and completely stretching in ways I didn't fully expect. And beyond that, there are other opportunities unfolding. And these opportunities, if I'm being completely transparent, they terrify me. The kind of things that make you pause and think, am I really equipped for this? And then if I'm really, really being vulnerable, might as well. This season has also brought up some old feelings I thought I had worked through. There are still moments where I question if I'm enough. Moments where imposter syndrome creeps in and whispers to me, who do you think you are to do this? Moments where fear feels louder than clarity. And maybe you felt that too. Maybe you've stepped into something new or you're being pulled towards something new. And instead of feeling confident, you feel exposed, uncertain, like you might be just in over your head. Well, I want you to hear this because I am living it right alongside you. Feeling not enough does not mean that you are not enough. It just means you're stretching. It means you're stepping beyond what's familiar, and that space, oh, it is completely uncomfortable. But it's also where growth happens. So if those thoughts have been showing up for you lately, you are not disqualified. You are not behind. My friend, you are human. And you can still move forward even with those feelings sitting in the passenger seat. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." I'm learning that God doesn't wait for me to feel fully confident. He just asks me to trust him in the step. Not because I feel fearless, but because I can trust where I'm being led. And I'm not quite ready to share all the details yet, but I am ready to ask something of you. And that is, if you are someone who prays, I would appreciate your prayers in this season. That God would guide my every step, that I would stay centered in his will, and that no matter what unfolds, he would be glorified through it. Now, I'd encourage you to ask yourself, what's one step that you've been waiting to take until you feel ready? Then take a small version of that step this week. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, just faithfully. The third truth, your story matters more than you think. One of the most humbling parts of these last 3 years has been seeing what has come from simply sharing. The messages, the conversations, what you've walked through, your heartaches, your healing, your growth. It doesn't just matter for you. It has the power to reach someone else exactly where they are. See, my friends, you don't need a platform. You don't need a perfect story. You just need willingness. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say to someone is, "I've been there too." And that's part of what Facelift has always been about, creating connection in places that often feel so isolating, helping people realize that they're not alone in their struggles, and reminding them that hope is still available, even in the middle of the process. Think of one person in your life right now who might be struggling. I would encourage you to reach out, send a message, share a piece of your story. You never know what that could mean to them. As I reflect on these past 3 years, I don't just think about the book. I also think about what God has done through it, things I never could have planned. This book, Facelift, it didn't just stay on pages. It led to this podcast, these conversations we get to have here. It created opportunities to write as a monthly columnist in a local newspaper. It opened the door to speaking engagements for connecting with real women in real time, hearing their stories and watching how much we all have in common beneath the surface. And I share that not to highlight accomplishments, but to remind you of something I've learned firsthand. And that is, you have no idea what can grow from the thing that you are hesitant to start. Your story, your experiences, your healing, they all matter. Revelations 12:11 says, "They overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." There is power in your story. It's about what God can do with that willing step. The step you're overthinking right now, the idea you keep putting off, the story you're unsure is enough. It might be the very thing that opens doors that you just can't see yet. Not because it's perfect, but because it's obedient. I also think about you, the listeners, the readers, the ones quietly doing the work in your own lives, the ones choosing hope when it would be easier to shut down, the ones still showing up, even when life feels heavy. Now, before we move on, I'd encourage you to take a second. Wherever you are, just think about that. What feels heavy in your life right now? And instead of asking, "How do I fix this?" ask, what would it look like to invite hope into this? Not to rush it, not to solve it, just invite hope in. Hold on to whatever came to mind. That's your starting point. My friend, you are the reason all of this matters. And as we step into what's next, I want this to continue being a space that encourages you and equips you and inspires you and challenges you and reminds you of your strength, and that He's not done writing your story. If you take one thing from today, let it be this. Write down that one fear that you've been holding on to. And right next to it, write one small step forward. Not a big leap, just a step. And then take it this week. take that one small step forward. If this message or Facelift, the book, has meant something to you, here are a few simple ways to share that hope. Would you consider leaving a copy at a women's shelter, or maybe placing one in a local coffee shop, or even gather up some friends and start a small book club? And know that a portion of all the proceeds goes to the Huntsman Cancer Foundation, so it's part of something bigger. If you want to stay connected and hear about what's coming next, you can join my monthly email at www.hollykirby.com. Now, before we end, I just want to take a moment and speak this over you. Wherever you are, whatever you're carrying, I pray that you would feel peace, even if things are uncertain, that you would have the courage to take your next step, even if it feels small, that you would be reminded you are not alone, and that God is working in your story, even in the parts that just don't make sense yet. Thank you for being here, for listening, for growing, for being part of this community. I don't take it lightly. You matter more than you think you do. Wherever you are right now, whether you're in a season of clarity or confusion, strength or struggle, I hope this episode reminds you that you're not alone and your story is still unfolding in a powerful way. I'm here always cheering you on, and I can't wait to see where this next chapter leads for all of us. If this episode resonated with you, would you share it with someone who might need it? And if you've read Facelift, would you consider rating and leaving a review on Amazon or send me a message? And if you haven't read it yet, maybe this is your nudge. No pressure, just an invitation. Thanks for being here today. Thank you for being a part of the reason I smiled today. Now go bloom where you're planted and enjoy your journey. Thank you for joining me on this journey of life. I hope that today's highlight has been encouraging, inspiring, and equipping so you can go out and live your life full of purpose. I'd be honored if you'd take a moment to leave a review, or better yet, subscribe. We can also stay in touch by joining my email list at hollykirby.com. That's HOLLYCURBY.com. Until next time, make it a great day for a great day.